Welcome everybody to the Horizontal. This is Season 1, Episode 5. And today's guest, we have Nick Salvatore. This will be his first season in Juicy's League 11. It's going to be very unique. It's our first non-Rhode Islander in the league. Nick, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Good to be on.
And we're going to be doing this on a Skype call since it's very hard to meet each other. It's the best way we could do it. And because this is your first year in the league, I guess we can start off with your opening reactions about being in this new league.
Yeah, it's great to be in. Heard a lot about it last year. People saying, it's 8 teams. It's completely different than my scoring, but it's very competitive. I think last year you said there was 3 teams at 6 and 8.
Yep.
I think you said. So it's very competitive. A lot of people in the league, or that are still in the league, pay attention to it, and I'm excited to be in it.
Very good. Very good. Good to be here. Good to be here. And you mentioned about your previous league. They had different scoring. You want to get into that?
Yeah. So we're in the 12th year of my fantasy league, so one more than you, we think. The first 6 years, it was me and my friend were co-commissioned, and he ran it, all the points and stuff. I helped get the people to join the league and everything. We start off with an 8-person league like yours, and the scoring was very high. The first season and second season, we were at around 200 points, 200 plus points each game.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so then after a couple of years, he started slacking off. So I took over, I think, in 2008, 2009, and I kept his score and everything. I just set everything up because he got busy. And that year, he did not do a lot of work. He didn't go on a lot. And the next year, I kicked him out. I threw out my co-commish. Took him out of the league, and I rebooted this thing so much. I put my 3 cousins in there, which I did the year before when I took over slightly. I changed the scoring dramatically. I don't want a point for every time you stub your toe. Okay? The average score went from about 200 plus to around 80. I went more bonus based instead of every yard you get a point. It just cut back a lot, and I like it because when you watch the game, you kind of have an understanding of how much points he's going to get and how much points he got. So it was a complete 180. But the people that are in it now like it. I have about 8 strong each year. I know I added you last year, and I'm trying to get a couple other people this year, but usually the last 4 change in and out. But no, the league's going strong, and it's completely different than your league, which is 2 good ways to do a league. There's not one correct way to do it.
Yeah, it's a complete 180, like you said. We've talked about it, disagreed. I still think you get a yard, you get a point, or at least a tenth of a point. Every 10 yards is a point. But I know you like the bonuses. Like, was it every 60 yards, 60, 80, 100 yards?
Yeah, 60, 80, and 100, and you get a point every 20 yards. I know people get mad if you get, what if I get 99 yards? I said, well, if I get 99 yards, I don't get the bonus. It's not like I'm getting special points. It's you got to hit the bonus. If you don't hit the bonus, you don't get the points.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And I know Josh is not a big fan of this scoring league. But, I don't have to appease Josh. He's not in my league. So, I could care less what he thinks.
Josh, I hope you hear that. Your opinion doesn't matter. But I know Brian will also be joining us in this league. So
yes.
We're going to have 3 people in Juicy's league to your league.
Yeah.
2 completely different leagues.
And the rumor is Nico might make an appearance. We're not sure about him. I know he has a hefty price tag, so I don't know if I can afford him.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough call. Very tough to convince him. Though, I think of it now, we're basically speaking from one commissioner to another.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Yeah, one president to the other.
How do you like being commish? I guess we could talk a little bit about that. How do you feel about being commish? You like it?
I love it. I like to be in charge. If I want to rule, passed, I could pass it. The trades go through me. I think the same thing with you, right? The trade has to go through the commish.
Yeah, I finalize it. But if it's like I kind of just like it's basically finalized, even if it's like I don't agree with it.
No,
I kind of just
I
go through
agree.
it.
Yes, I do the same exact thing. I used to do a league vote, but people didn't vote, and it just was stupid. So I did. I say that have the final say, and I accept it. No matter, I don't look at your team to say, "Oh, this is not making this team better, so I'm going to veto it." That's not true.
Right.
All I'm looking at is it's somewhat fair. 1 year, I had to veto one trade, and even the guy making the trade said, "I'm glad you vetoed it," because it was insane. It was like Jordy Nelson for like a backup running back. The guy was out. It was very fishy, and I had to veto it. And I had to do a comment section just to say why I vetoed it, but everybody agreed with it. But every trade goes through, most likely. I'm not here to say that's a good trade or bad trade. Just it's a fair trade. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I can't recall me having having any trade problems. Um, haven't had too
No,
many in the past. We talked about it previously.
yeah, I mean, the last 4 years, every time there was a trade, I asked Alex for his opinion, and we just came up with a solution.
Yeah, that's what I was actually gonna ask too. If you actually had like somebody you go to, like if you want to double check with.
Yeah, so the last 4 years I went to Alex. He was my roommate. He's sitting right next to me. So I asked him a lot. Before that, and scoring-wise, I talked to my three cousins and Alex. Those are the four guys I talked to the most about it. Any scoring change or point change, I talk to them first, get their feel for it, and then I make it. I don't just make a move saying, this is my way, and that's it. Because, I mean, I actually wanted to make the scoring even lower, and they talked me out of it. So,
Oh, thank God!
yeah, so
The score would
I
have been
just,
10-8.
yeah. But, I mean, I made small changes this year, which are pending. I've talked to people, and they like it. So once that's finalized, I'll send a message to the league. But no, I'm trying to be an open commish. What was it, 2 years, a sophomore year? So that's 3 years ago. We had a little falling out in the league, and it escalated very quickly. I had my cousin's friends in the league. They did not like the bonuses. They liked the yardage like your league, and they got mad after 3 weeks, which I said, after 3 weeks, you have no say. You can say before the draft. You can't say all this, and they want to make a PPR. Then it escalated so quickly. And I'm sitting next to Alex. I'm saying, what the hell do I do? I mean, it was so bad, and they want to do a scoring change. This is a learning curve as a commish. You got to take the reins, and you got to douse the fire. I put it to a poll on what scoring to do, which was stupid. It ended up being my way, but it just dragged on for 2-3 days, and that was not a good scenario. Oh, that was bad. And I was doing bad that season too, so that did not help either.
Wait, so did they want to change scoring during the season?
Week 3, they wanted to change the scoring. They wanted to make it a PPR.
Oh
They
my
wanted to
God.
make it points per.
Reception, yeah.
Yeah, no, but like every yard you get a point also
Oh,
at point
okay.
1. They
That's
wanted to change everything. I'm like, do this before the draft. Once you draft, I'm not going to make it a PPR. I could change some numbers, but it doesn't affect the drafting. But if you make it a PPR, guys like Elderman from the Pats, he's going to go a lot higher in a PPR than my league.
Yeah, that's dumb. For someone to even consider changing during the season, that it's just something you can't do.
It was just one person said it and it snowballed down. Then 4 or 5 people chimed in. One of my good friends like, yeah, it's our league too. I'm like, what are you talking about, your league? I know it's your league. Don't say it after week 3, you know. Oh, that was bad, but
That's a
I learned
cardinal
from
sin.
that. Yeah, I learned, and we got through it.
Yeah, if people don't like the scoring, tell them just to leave, or I
Yeah,
do it for them.
but the people that I have there now, I have 8 strong. I have a 9th person in you, so I have 10 people right now that are in it, and Brian 211. But I have about 8 or 9 that have been there and they like the scoring. They understand it and they know it. You have to get used to it a little bit. But I know me, my 3 cousins, 2 of my friends that were there since day 1, all enjoy the scoring.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I know you're a little hesitant on it. I've heard some mornings in the Valentine Lounge. saying, "What the hell is this?" And I get a text later saying, "Why don't I have a point here?" I say, "Mike, just calm down. It'll be fine."
Listen, it was a tough season for me.
I know. You finished. Actually, I have the paperwork.
10th place, I know. I don't forget it.
10th place, 4-9.
Yeah, it was not pretty.
Yeah.
Though I thought I had a good team.
You were last in your division, 0-5 in the division.
I even lost to Alex.
Where is that? No, Alex is in a different division. He was 3-9-1.
Wait, he wasn't in my division?
No.
Isn't his team Why Bother?
Yes, that's this year's divisions. That's the way you signed up this year. So once there's 12 teams in a league, what I do is I put everybody's name in a hat. And at my house, I might have somebody here, and I pick the names out of a hat, and I make the divisions. And then I got to generate the schedule. So I generate the schedule, and we do 13 weeks and 3 weeks playoffs, so 14, 15, 16. So you play everybody once, and 2 of the 3 teams in your division you play twice. But when you start the league, it's the order you sign up in. So last year you were with my cousin and 2 of his friends, Mike and Brian. Alex was in another division. He was 3-9-1.
Yeah, we had a tough season.
The final division.
We had a tough season.
Yeah.
I actually want to see this. I want to see a live showing of your picking up this divisions thing. It's gonna be like our lottery.
You're more than welcome. I'll do a live feed. I might get ESPN 8, ESPN Ocho to do it. But it's. I mean, who knows before the draft? Because I do it before the draft. So who cares who's in your division? You don't know who's going to be good or bad. I mean, if I'm in your league, I'm going to say, oh, I definitely want Josh and Brian because they did bad. But, that's not going to say, oh, Josh could have 12, 11 wins. Same with Brian next year. I don't know. All these people know sports. It's not like you have somebody there that says, oh, he knows nothing. He's definitely going to be in last place.
All right. No divisions in my league.
There's no division, so it's 8 teams. It's like
best 4 make the playoffs.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned that either on this podcast.
What's the tiebreaker for yours? So if 2 teams have the same record.
So, which has happened, I think, every single year for the past 3 or 4 years, we've had a tiebreaker to make the playoffs, and it goes by most points after that.
Okay. Yeah, see, what we have is, first, if it's 2 teams, it's head-to-head.
Oh.
If that's a push, or there's 3 teams, then it goes to points. Because my thinking is, if I beat you head-to-head, I should get the higher seed. I don't care what the points are. I beat you head-to-head. I'm in.
Well, we have some they're completely different leagues here. And
yeah, I mean, when you go for so many years, you stick to your ways. And both ways are good. They're just very different, which is good to be in 2 different leagues. They're not very similar, so your drafts could be completely different, and you could still have a great team.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was about to mention. If you're gonna do multiple leagues for competitive, and what I mean by competitively, it's like money. Maybe if you want whatever amount it is, you want to do like PPR and then like standard. I think that's the best way to do it. If you do PPR twice, well, like similar scoring, then you're drafting a bunch of guys, and you're just gonna have to watch every single one of them on Sunday, even though they could help you and screw you at the same time, which is gonna be tough.
That's the only hesitation I have with 2 leagues, is that pretend I have Le'Veon Bell in one league, another league I don't, but I'm playing a guy who has Le'Veon Bell. What do I do? Am I rooting for Le'Veon Bell? Am I not? That's the only hesitation I have with 2 leagues. So the best thing I do is try not to look at the other team. But usually when you do the draft, when you're a commissioner, you kind of know the teams, the big guys at least. So it's tough. That's the only hesitation I have with 2 leagues. But again, 2 very different leagues is good. Like you said, PPR in one league, and mine is very standard. So it's half the scoring and everything.
Yeah,
so
literally.
Yeah. So it gives you a little bit of each scenario, but I mean, if there's a way to make it work, this is the way to make it work.
Yeah. Um, I feel like that happens. I mean, what people also do is they'll join like five, six, seven leagues and just hope one of them wins them the money,
Hmm.
which is smart. I mean, I don't like doing that.
I don't like that either. There's no fun in that. I mean, that's like doing a bracket for NCAA tournament. I can say, oh, I have a great bracket. Well, how many brackets you do? 20. No, come on. Do one bracket and maybe like a funner bracket, like your or I was in it. Pick them in one bracket. Another bracket, do your bracket, and that's it. If you do 20 brackets, I'm not going to give you credit for it.
Yeah, I know it's just too much. It becomes a freaking job. You really think of it.
Yeah,
You gotta do that to many leagues. What's the fun of it?
I agree.
There is two leagues at most. I would do.
Hmm.
Um, it's just too tough to. I've done two leagues basically all my life.
Okay.
So, and I'm perfectly fine with it. They've both been either PPR or standard, so it's been completely different.
Hmm.
And people who are thinking about doing that, I recommend it. It makes it a little more exciting.
Yeah. This is the first time I'm doing two leagues.
Oh,
So
really?
it is.
Did not
So
know that.
it's going to be interesting for me.
Yeah, not only is it's a different league, but you're gonna have to face new things like two quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it, and two quarterbacks, so that's 16 quarterbacks starting each week. Let's say
Correct.
everybody has one quarterback on the bench, and that's generous. That's 24. You got some weeks where there's bye weeks, say there's 4 or 6 buys. You got maybe one quarterback left in free agency, and probably some team's going to have 2 or 3 quarterbacks on the bench. So you're looking at maybe the backup for Josh McCown. You might have Hackenberg starting, and he might have him start for the Jets. So, I mean, it's very tricky with a 2 quarterback league. You got to really go with 3 strong quarterbacks, and you have to look a couple weeks ahead and say, this is a bye. And if your backup guy has the same bye as your starter, you have to look a couple weeks ahead and say, I have to grab a fourth quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of teams go with the fourth quarterback. Um, I've done
But
it.
now you have a lot of bench spots, correct? Because in my league, I only have, I think, 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, I have eight. I think at least
See,
eight.
wow, that's double mine. So it's you could stash a couple guys and wait and see.
I think anything that could be different about our leagues is different.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, I don't have waivers. You have waivers.
Yeah.
We just
I
talked
have a
about
12
bench.
team league. You have an 8 team league. I have one quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, no flex.
That's
You
right. You
have
don't have a flex.
no flex. So and you have was it 2 quarterbacks, 3 receivers,
Yeah.
2 running backs, and a flex.
Yep.
So that it adds up a lot. It's completely different. I
I
mean,
completely forgot you didn't have a flex. That's so weird.
no flex and it's 12 teams.
Phew.
I mean, they're completely different.
Yeah, you. You're gonna do two leagues. So like I said, this is the way to do it. This
Yeah,
you can
and
have
then
two
my
completely different teams
waivers,
and win it.
yeah, and my waivers go. It's reverse draft order to start. So if you have the last pick, you get first waiver. First week comes on, people go through waivers. I think you could claim them Wednesday 2 a.m. I think, and if you have the first spot, first waiver, you get first chance at it. If you don't pick them, it goes to the second waiver and third waiver.
Right, and
But
so on. Yep.
if the first person picks them, you get slotted into the 12th spot for the waivers. So you have to do a little thinking, saying, is this guy really worth my number one waiver claim? Or should I wait? Maybe he'll go through waivers, and I can pick him up without using my waiver wire order. So there's a lot of thinking behind it. Not a lot of people think about that, but really, is this guy really worth the number one spot? Maybe next week, maybe Le'Veon Bell goes down, and you need the backup running back for Pitt, and you want to be number one.
It's very true. I actually really don't have anything against waivers. I really don't. I don't mind them at all. Um, it does put a lot more strategy into stuff. This league is like you take a flyer, but like you got to be quick.
Yeah.
You got to be next morning. All right, Who's here?
So if you drop a guy Wednesday afternoon, I could pick him up an hour after you drop him.
Yeah, I think so. He's there.
You got to really be on it.
Yeah, you listen. You know how many times we were in class and I'm looking at the teams and I'm saying, "Oh God, we already had Brian pick up someone at 6:45 in the morning."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard from previous podcasts that Brian really worked the waiver wire a little bit. But 58 or something like that.
59 transactions, and I had, which is not usually the case, but I had second most, and I was at 27.
Oh wow.
He more than doubled.
Wow, that's a lot. But I mean, if you do 59 and you hit on one or two of them, that's all you gotta do. Hitting them one or two, and that could change your whole season.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Help him get to 6 wins, because the draft in the beginning of the part was tough.
And then Brian is tight end heavy. I mean, I've listened to a couple podcasts and I've heard Brian loves his tight ends.
Boy, he does. At least last year. I don't know if it's gonna stick. He might have a new strategy. He said this draft was gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I'm scared about that. But again, I don't know how Brian usually drafts. So,
but
I mean,
you do have the second pick. Ball is basically in your court. You kind of know Antonio Brown most likely to go first.
Yes.
We've discussed that.
And
you got a free board. How you feeling?
I mean, I feel good. Honestly, I don't think I was going Brown anyway.
Huh.
So, and I know I've talked to you off air, and you said there is one guy you were looking at. I don't know what guy, and if he's not there, you might try to move down a little bit.
It's a possibility.
So, I mean, I'm looking at a couple of guys. I mean, I think you can narrow it down. It's either David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Julio, which I know you are a big Julio guy, and Beckham, and Elliott. There's 5 guys that could go there. I think that's going to be the first, and Brown. Those are the first 6 picks, I think. And I don't think there's much movement there. I mean, I'm a big Evans guy, but to put him over Beckham and Julio, I don't know if that's a smart move.
A little risky at that high of a pick.
Yeah.
I agree.
But, I mean, those are the 6. I think I'm going... I mean, it's still wide open. I think it's either David Johnson or Le'Veon Bell.
Running back first. Interesting.
I think because... Now, I'm still open because I do love Julio. And in your league, Julio's a lot better than my league because Julio, if you look at his touchdowns, I think in his career he only had 1 double-digit touchdown season. But a ton of yards. While Beckham, I think, has 3 double-digit touchdown seasons, and Brown is unbelievable. So Julio in your league has a lot of yards, and that could help. A lot of receptions, a lot of yards. So I know that's why you like him. I think, isn't your name Julio?
It is for now. I couldn't think of a name. That's going to change. Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay. So, I mean, I think you have Johnson, Bell, and Elliott. Then it drops for running backs. I looked, Melvin Gordon's the 4th running back. Jordan Howard's the 5th running back. That's a huge drop-off. I don't care what you say. A San Diego running back, especially him, and Howard, I mean, that's a big drop from Zeke, from Johnson, and from Bell. So if you take a stud running back, and then hopefully you can take a flyer on another running back, you're set. But if you're trying to figure out what 2 running backs you're going to get, and if it's later, you might get Gillespie from the Pats. I mean, you might get a lot of guys that, it might be good, but they might not. You might get stuck with Forte. You don't know. But if you get a stud you lock in there every week, oh, that's great. Because receivers, every team they go 5 wide receivers wide. So there's going to be 3 wide receivers. On the Giants, you got Marshall, you got Beckham, and then you even have Shepard if you want to start 1 week. Shepard, that's not horrible. But running backs they're a tricky spot.
Yeah, especially in this league. Though, you kind of need a star receiver in this league. We've discussed it. Beckham won a championship last year. Julio, Des Bryant have done in the past.
when I won my championship in my league, you only start 2 receivers, but I had Demaryius Thomas and Cobb, and then I picked up Beckham. And that was the year Beckham's rookie season, and I picked him off free agency. Yeah. And I won championship with that. I think you did too, right, with Beckham?
Yeah, we won. I guess we won a championship the same year.
Yeah, how about that?
Mine was because of Beckham as well.
And I went from last to first, which is unbelievable. The only year I finished under the 5th seed, which was the last that year, I turned it around, named my team before the draft, worst to first, and I won. But no, receivers do help. But if you had David Johnson last year, he had 16 touchdowns rushing. I think 4 receiving. That's 20 touchdowns. I mean, I don't care what receiver you have. That's the best guy. That guy is a running back and a receiver. I know Le'Veon Bell, even in his contracts, he's saying he wants number 1 running back money and number 2 receiver money. The NFL is more running, yes, but you need a back that could receive a little bit.
Certainly helps.
But, I mean, I don't know what way I only did 1 draft with you so far. I'm not sure who you're looking at 3. I think Julio at 3 is kind of high for you. I honestly do. But have you ever thought, because I know there's trading in this league when you do the draft, which is very tricky for me because I've never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing to trade from 3 to 2?
Oh, trade up?
Trade up from 3 to 2?
I would absolutely talk about it. I would have to see who you're picking.
Right. You're not going to know who I'm picking.
Well, we would have to discuss that in the trade.
Of course. Oh, yes, of course.
But well, obviously we keep that secret.
Yes. I'm not going to tell you I'm picking, let's say, Zeke. And you say, I'm not picking Zeke, so I don't care. I'm not going to do the trade. But, I mean, I listened to the previous podcast. You said more trades probably would happen maybe round 3, probably round 4 on. You might see a guy that slips, and you might say, oh, okay, I can package my 6 and 7, and you give me this 4th pick and maybe a later one or something like that.
Yeah, the problem is with trading early is just that you do so much preparation of like who is your best guys and your ranking, and then if you like move up and down, it kind of just screws up your whole draft. And I don't think there's enough experience in this league yet to start playing with fire.
True. But I mean, a lot of people are gonna think me and Alex don't know a lot. We're first time in the league. But I mean, I don't know about Alex, but I'm gonna come out swinging. I'm not gonna sit back and you know let people take advantage of me or whatever. Think, oh, he doesn't know. I'm gonna come out swinging, and either it's gonna make me the top team, or it could completely backfire and screw me. But I will be out there in draft day, wherever it is, and I will be looking at every scenario and looking to maybe wheel and deal a little bit.
I'll tell you what, maybe I'm going 3 to 2. I'll even like the horizontal could break this. You put it in stone. It's gonna be very, very tough for me to do that because I'm already down a 4th round pick.
That is true.
Because
to move up 1 spot, you go from 3 to 2. We would probably have to. I'll probably need you 2nd, and I'll give you the 3rd.
Yeah, that's just.
And that's pushing it, I think.
Yeah, that's tricky. Very tricky.
You have that loop at 2 to 3. So you give me pick 14, and I'll give you 18.
Mm-hmm. I would have to rely on some late round drafting. Mm-hmm. Which, with new guys in the league, I don't know.
Yeah, you know Nico, how he drafts. I know how Alex drafts. But the difference is, I'm pick 2, Alex is 8. Our picks are not going to matter. It doesn't matter if I know who Alex is going to pick because there's going to be like 8 or 7 more picks until it gets to me.
Right.
You and Nico are close to each other.
Yeah, not good. Right, no. Back to back.
But see, that could also be good because if you know who he's going to pick, you could trade up and go right up above him, right in front of him, and take it from him. So that could also be a good spot.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of trade buzz during the draft because we're all gonna be together in the
True.
same room doing an offline draft. So there's obviously gonna be some talking going on because it's gonna be just like there's no pressure per se to make a quick impulse pick because the timer's gonna be a little bit longer.
Hmm.
Um, but I that trade it might just be just talk though. It might be all smoke at least for this first year.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. There's a lot of hype. A lot of people I mean, I know it's Brian and Nico and Jenko's second year, so they know a little more about it. Me and Alex, I mean, we're going to sit back a little bit and see what happens. I think I'm going to try to come out swinging a little bit.
I like that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't sit back. I mean, I think Brian said it, that you don't really want to harm next year's draft. Because you don't want to have back-to-back bad years. You don't want to trade next year's picks. Real. I mean,
Yeah, I hear you.
I know you did. You took the gamble.
But I only lost down to 2 rounds. I'm to sixth.
That could be big. Round 4 to round 6 is I mean,
I
it's not
suck in the
round 3.
fourth.
Yeah,
I'm known for that.
we'll see what happens. I mean, I know Brian's bold prediction is Josh will mess up on 3 of the first 6 picks that he has. So
I thought that was a funny one.
I thought it's a bold prediction, you know.
It is very bold.
But if you hit 3 on your first 6, that's also not that bad. If you hit correctly.
No, it's not. It just depends who they are and how many points they can contribute a week.
Yeah.
This draft's already getting stressful.
I know.
And it's a month and 5 days away.
Yeah, my draft's in 2 weeks, so it's a little more stressful over here.
Yeah, hasn't even hit me that we're getting close to that time of the year.
I know. It's the best part, though. It keeps it interesting, keeps every game. I mean, if you're watching those terrible Thursday night games, Jacksonville, Tennessee, you know, you might have Fournette, and you might watch the game then. Or you will watch the game. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss our URI meetings for football games.
You know what? I know for you guys, I don't think I ever watched a game with you. I honestly don't.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I watched a football game.
We hung out during that time though.
Yes, but did we watch a game on Sunday? I don't think so. I think I watched it at home with Alex. Most of the games. I used to be yelling at the Giant game, I know, at home with Alex.
Yeah,
So I know that.
like because we watched the Pats. We watched Monday or Thursday together though.
No, because if the Pats are on, the Giants would not be televised in Rhode Island.
Well, they got the 1 and 4 o'clock games.
Yes, but if it's 1 o'clock and 1 o'clock, the Pats are on and the Giants are not.
Right.
But no, I don't think I watched a game with you. We watched college basketball. I know you quit college basketball. I know we watched basketball because I know you quit basketball. So
it was a bad basketball year.
Yes.
I didn't have a good time.
But no, I mean, it is different watching the games separately. Even the next day, Monday morning, talking about it in the lounge. You're not going to have that anymore.
I'm pretty sure group chat's going to be going back and forth. Can already see it.
Yep.
There's definitely going to be some episodes during the week too, so don't be surprised to hear a call.
Yeah.
Call in.
I can't wait for that. That should be good.
Yeah, I figured they'd probably be short 20, 30-minute ones and probably just talk about a week recap.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to that when that path crosses. Yes. That offline draft is gonna kill me.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought about it.
It's gonna be 8 of us just sitting in my living room, looking at a board. And what I'm thinking of doing, I'm probably gonna ask everyone else, but I guess I could start. I can make this. I could start the propose a rule right now. We'll probably talk about it after. What I was thinking is I hook up my laptop to my big screen, since I probably won't need my laptop that much. and have a countdown clock that I found on Google. So
Okay.
basically, like 4.5 minutes, I think would be a good time for each pick, and
I
then do
mean,
that.
do you think people are going to take that long? Because I know for Yahoo Online, it's 2 minutes, I think, the max. Do you think people will take it at 4.5 minutes? I know if there's trade talk, that might delay it a little bit. But do you think you need to reset the clock every time going up on the screen?
Yeah, I probably have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, Unless I actually have like a stopwatch like on me, and I could just be
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, you got 2 minutes, and like announce it out.
Yeah.
That's something I have to be talk about. I wish I've heard other leagues that have done it. An offline draft, I've never heard of, I don't know anyone that's done it before.
Yeah.
So this is literally going to be brand spanking new idea.
Well, I mean, I think you get a board and they give you all the names of the players, and once somebody gets picked, you put that name onto the board. And
Yep.
they just keep going with it. Now, the only thing is, you have to have your own sheet to say who the top quarterbacks are, running backs, receivers, and whatever. And you have to really pay attention because you have to make sure you cross out all these guys. So maybe I'm lackadaisical a little bit. I see you pick someone, the call picks later, and I try to pick the same guy, and we have to make sure, no, Mike already has him. You got to pick someone else. So it's going to be a little tricky. You got to pay attention to every pick. You can't zone out. I mean, when you get to the later rounds, you just want to, skim through a couple of things. You might zone out a little bit.
And it's going to be a battle of the minds.
It is.
We talked about before. It's going to be a mental game.
Yeah. And then you got to also have your own sheet. Everybody's going to have a different ranking. Usually on Yahoo, everybody sees the same rankings. And you could have a thinking of, okay, he's going to pick the top guy there.
That's true. That's actually a very good point. I guess people could really have their own rankings.
Yeah, everybody's going to have...
That's a good point.
Different places, and it's going to be completely different. You have no clue.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't think... I just assumed maybe people just pick it off Yahoo. But you know what? They could pick wherever they want, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, I'm going to print something out, and I'm not going to rearrange the rankings. I know people like to adjust the ranking for their liking. I don't. Just give me the rankings. I know enough football to know, I like this guy more than this guy. And in my head, I know that he's going to be higher for me than this guy. But I wanted the rankings just to say, okay, if somebody else had those rankings, that's where it is. But I know in my head which guys I might reach a little bit for because I like them, or I don't think because I'm picked 2, there's a long snake around and back for me. So I might have to reach for a guy because I know he won't be there on the way back.
Right. And you're also going to... I know you've done it before, but it has been a while, but you're going to realize that this draft might be going quicker than you think. I know we thought about extending the time, but still, 8 teams going from 12 to 8. You know?
Yeah.
That snake comes back real quick.
That is true because the last 5 years, or 6 years, I've done 12-team leagues, so I've had the first pick. You had to wait 23, 24 picks to get back to you.
Oh, that makes me want to puke.
Which is a long time.
That makes me want to puke.
Oh.
That's... You go from, like, picking Antonio Brown to picking Mark Sanchez. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's a long... That's why you got to make those picks count. I mean...
I actually had picked 2.
Yeah.
Last year.
Oh, yeah?
I had Julio.
At 2?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I know you're probably a little disappointed about his season, right? I mean, what, do you have 6 touchdowns?
Yeah. It could have been better, but he did have some good weeks for me.
Oh, yeah.
He's come off the 1,900-yard season. I was like, wow.
Yeah. He scares me because he's always banged up. Every season I've seen him, he's limping on and off.
Dude, I looked at the rankings like last week and he was already questionable. I was like, what the heck?
Wow. Yeah. He's just, but he always, if he gets injured during the game, he always tries to get back out there.
Yeah.
Some guys, they're a little banged up.
He always plays.
Yeah.
He just gives you a heart attack.
I remember one game, it was a couple years ago. They were playing the Packers, and it was a playoff game in my fantasy league. I'm playing my cousin. We're tied going into Monday night. He has Rodgers and Roddy White, and I had Matt Ryan and Julio. No, Matt Ryan and Cobb. And Julio went off. He had like 200 yards, and it was a shootout, but he kept getting injured. So Julio would catch a 15-yard pass, and then he'll go to the sideline. Roddy White would catch a 20-yard pass, so that would hurt me. And Julio would come back out and kept going back and forth, ended up winning by a point on Monday night because of that. But he just kept coming in and out. I mean, he just wouldn't go away, which helped me. But I don't know. He's just a fighter, you know. He gives every ounce of his body to the Falcons, which is good to see. I mean, wish he gave a little more during the Super Bowl, but we're not going to go there.
I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. And actually, you do mention the Falcons, and I guess we've underestimated how big of a deal that loss really is. 28-3, you blow a lead. That's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like that. And
that was.
It's a question we've never asked on this podcast either. Do we see a big impact on the fantasy players for that team? Because we know they've been so high octane offense, but does things change for the Atlanta Falcons?
I don't see it until the playoffs. I think they're going to be the same throughout the season. I think they'll have a good season. I think maybe 10 to 12 wins. But because they're in the dome, Matt Ryan loves the dome. Come playoff time, if it's crunch time or if they have a lead even in the playoffs, in the back of their heads, they're going to be saying, oh, no, we're going to blow this. And I think that's when you're going to see it in the playoffs. I don't think the regular season you're going to see it too much. I mean, Matt Ryan's going to throw it. I do think he's going to decline a little bit because, I mean, he was MVP last year. He's going to decline a little bit. But I don't know. I don't see it affecting him too much in the regular season. What do you think?
I would not be surprised to see if they started off sluggish, like maybe slow 2 or 3. Maybe they go like 1-2, 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I feel like their defense might take a step back, even though it is young and up and coming. But just to start off, I would say.
Yeah.
Which depending on their offense is going, if it's flowing, maybe that helps the passing game. In a weird, we know how some of those teams are bad, but they always pass. Colts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, be one of them. Right, Saints, Colts would be good examples. They could very well be like one of those teams to start. But I do also agree that they will turn it around, like a Seahawks thing. You know, start off a little sluggish, but then pull it together. Though this is different, though. We've never seen this team be this good. I mean, it's only been basically a year they've been this good.
True.
So it's not like the Seahawks where you kind of know like they'll get their stuff together by week 7. Falcons are usually a guaranteed pick. I usually have at least 2 or 3 of them on my team, but this year might be a little bit different. Just because it was such a unique loss.
No, you're right. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule now. They start out at Chicago, which is not the toughest game. I know it's in Chicago, but Chicago's not a good team.
No.
So that's going to be a good starting point for them. They should become 1-0. And then they go at home Sunday night against Green Bay, and then they go to Detroit. So at least they have the Chicago game. So hopefully they could just – I mean, I think that could be a blowout. And that could be like a 49-14 game, I think. And that should get the ball rolling.
You know what's scary for them? They could easily start 0-3.
I mean, yes.
I don't see it happening, but it's a very real possibility.
2 games on the road, and the home game is Green Bay.
Right, and Green Bay is no cakewalk. It's almost virtually an away game.
Yes, Sunday night. No, I could see that. But Chicago at Detroit. Detroit doesn't scare me. I mean, who is it? Marvin Jones still?
Yeah.
I mean, they say Ebron's going to pick it up, but they've been saying that since he's been drafted.
Is Golden Tate still on the Lions? I believe he is. No?
I think so. I'm not certain,
He had
but
a
I
good
think, I
year.
mean, he gets a lot of catches.
I had him in your
At
league
some point,
last year.
you did?
Yep. Helped me a little bit.
Yeah, he's still on the Lions. But he's a good PPR guy. He had 91 catches, 1,000 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Wow, that I didn't know about the 91 catches.
Yeah.
That's
See,
that's
that's great
pretty
in
damn
your
good.
league. In my league, that's not good. 1,004 touchdowns? That's nothing.
Yeah, the perfect player that makes a difference between our leagues is Deshaun Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Because Deshaun Jackson's a guy that could go 60 balls, 950, 1,000 yards, and like 8 TDs. Where PPR, that's like, it's good, but it's not great. But in your league, it's like, wow. You know, the catches don't mean as much per se, where yard bonuses and touchdowns do make a difference, which Deshaun can certainly get.
That is true. In your league, any guy in Kansas City with Alex Smith is probably better than my league. Because, Alex Smith loves those 2-yard dump passes, and that counts as points for you. But for me, a 2-yard dump pass doesn't really do too much. So I think Travis Kelce might be a little better in your league than my league if he keeps up. I think he might do even better. He might be a top 5 tight end. But in your league, with all those catches, if Alex Smith stays the quarterback, could really be, I think, of course, Gronk is one when healthy, but I think he could be up there with just under Jordan Reed in your league.
Wait, so you're saying Gronk, Jordan Reed, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Um, that's a real possibility. I mean, well, Washington has Jameson Crowder, who I certainly believe is up and coming, and Terrell Pryor, they signed.
I do not like him.
It's still a name though. You still gotta give
Yeah.
respect to it.
I know, and Cousins has to throw it to someone, but Pryor is getting picked so far ahead of Crowder right now, which is a
Really
little.
projected?
I looked, and I think Pryor's a 3rd-round projection in a 12-team league.
In a 12 team. Okay,
In a
so
12-team,
basically he's like a mid rounder in mine.
mid-round 4, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if he can go. There's usually a couple guys that kind of just slip from the
Mm-hmm.
rankings that just everyone just disagrees with. That could be one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I feel
not.
like Crowder. I would make the case at sometimes that Crowder should be picked in front of him.
I agree. I mean, last year you had Jackson and Garcon, and I mean they both did well. Cousins likes to throw. That running game is non-existent. So I mean, Cousins going to get his 350 yards, and it's got to go somewhere. Reed can only get so much when healthy.
Who's starting at Washington running back? Is it Matt Jones still?
It's Matt Jones and another guy. Who's that guy that was over Rob Kelly?
Oh yeah, that's right.
So no one basically.
Yeah, they have a little competition going, I guess, and whoever they pick up maybe for camp.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if they draft any rookies. I would have to go back and check that.
I think so. Not high at least. I mean, I think they're a 6-win team. I think they're in the cellar in that division.
Yeah, it's a tough division.
I mean, I think the Cowboys stayed the same. If not, went down a little bit. The Eagles went up a little bit, but it all depends on Wentz. And the Giants, I feel like, went up a lot with that Marshall signing and that tight end, Ingram. I think they're going to have a great offense. And it all comes down to Eric Flowers at left tackle. If he does well, which they're saying he's in better shape and will do well, then the Giants could be scary. And they also got that tight end from Minnesota who's a blocking tight end. So he's a fullback tight end, which could also help on that left side. So I know you had Brian on a couple podcasts ago, and he was bad-mouthing the Giants. And I had it here because I wanted to write it down. He said the Giant defense hasn't been that good, and they've been throwing a lot because they've been down. Now, there's a lot of ammo there, and I mean, hate to pick on Brian, but I think he's absolutely wrong. Defense has been bad. Yes, last year they were very good. spent $200 million on that D, and I feel like that's going to get even better this year. They've been throwing a lot, not because that they're down. It's because their line has been bad and they had no running game. You had guys with no. If you have no line, you're not going to run it. I don't care who is running the ball. You're not going to run it for a good amount of yards. So I think with a good offensive line this year, I mean, it's the same line. They got a guy, Fluker from San Diego, and this blocking tight end. But I feel like it's going to help that offensive line reinforce it a little bit. And I think Perkins could have a good season. And if he just does decent with all those weapons on the side, I think they could be very good and have I'm going to say a 10-6 season. And I think that's going to be around right where the Cowboys are for the division, which I think they're both 10-6. I'll say the Eagles are 500 and Washington about 6-10.
Yep. Cowboys, their problem is everyone's beating girls up.
Yeah.
They just signed. They had a linebacker that's got problems. They have Elliott that's problems.
That's Jerry Jones. He thinks he drafts guys, gets guys, and we could change him. But they can't. Remember they drafted that guy Gregory a couple years ago. We could change him. You can't change these guys most of the time. I mean, now Zeke might get suspended a couple games.
Yeah, that's actually something I want to bring up. We'll throw a hypothetical situation.
Mm-hmm.
Elliott gets suspended 2 games. Where does he go in the draft? Because we've seen Bell. We saw Bell slip last year.
And I don't get that. He fell a lot for you.
Yeah, it was a little too much.
He did not fall that much.
Where Brady was suspended 4, but he got picked in the second round. So I don't really know where suspended players. What do you think?
In your league, it's different because half the teams make the playoffs. So, I mean, if he is suspended 2 games, you got to put Johnson and Bell ahead of him. I don't put Gordon ahead of him. I think he's still above Gordon, and I think so. You go Johnson and Bell and Brown are guaranteed before him. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes above Julio and Beckham. I don't see that being too much of a surprise if it's suspended 2 games. I know it's 2 games, but you could also get that backup running back for that 2 weeks. I mean, they have the best offensive line, the Cowboys, one of the best. Any running back's going to do pretty well in that offense. So as long as you get that guy and you get the backup, you get Elliott, get the backup, I don't think he should slip too much, if at all.
That's a risky proposition. You have to reach on that backup running back too, so no one else gets him.
Because then you always had the backup. So if Elliott ever gets injured, you have the backup. You got Elliott handcuffed, and you're good. You don't have to worry too much about it.
Yeah, his problem has been in handcuffs literally too much lately.
Yes.
I feel like he would slip a little bit in this league. I really would. I think getting a first round talent is pretty vital to have. To have him for all 14 games. And at 14 I mean by the fantasy season. Because there's a lot of good guys out there. And, 2 quarterbacks, I mean, you really plan to take Elliott. I mean, what if you're at pick 7 or 8 and Elliott's still there, but then you have no quarterback's been taken? Then you're really thinking, maybe that team, maybe like Alex is thinking, it's like, 2 quarterbacks, you could get an elite one right now, or I could take a risk on Elliott, who's been out for 2 games.
Yeah.
It kind of brings up an interesting debate if he does indeed slip.
I mean, I don't think he'll slip that much, but I'm the second pick. So he's not going to fall to me in the second round. So
that's very unlikely that he would.
I hope so. I'm telling you right now, if he's there, I'm probably going to look at him very much. Even though I don't usually go Cowboys and Patriots, I try to stay away from them. Didn't work out last year, but I usually try to stay away from those teams. But if he's the best guy on the board, I'm not going to be an idiot and not look at it, at least.
Weren't you the one that had Gronk and Des Bryant last year?
Yeah, but last year was a bad year. I had the 8th pick, I think, 7th or 8th in my league, and I think it was Gronk. I forget. It was either Gronk or I think it was it was Gronk or Dez. And I looked at the drop off, and there was nobody else there. And I said, he's the best guy by far. I have to draft him. And coming back around, the same thing with either Gronk or Dez. I forget which one went round 1, which one went round 2. And I mean, they both would have been fine if they didn't get injured. I mean, Gronk healthy is up there with the best of them. And Dez just, I mean, with that whole Dak situation, it was a little confusing. But when he played, he actually did pretty well.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad. He was okay.
But I went against everything I believe in, and it came back and haunted me. So it's the first time I ever picked a Cowboy and a Patriot, besides Amendola, which I don't really count. But, it came back and haunted me.
Yeah, and we've talked about previous podcasts about bias. Who do you like? Who do you don't? Has someone screwed you in the past?
Yeah.
I always
Jeremy
love.
Hill is one for me. That guy always kills me.
I think every person in America should just never draft him.
He's always there, and you're like, oh, that's a good buy so late. No, never.
If I can make one thing about my draft, Cern, I will not be drafting him.
Yeah, I mean,
I will announce that to the league right now. He is not going to be on my team. Absolutely done.
He always and did the Bengals draft a running back too?
Pretty sure they did.
And they still have Bernard coming off the ACL injury. So I mean, it's a crowded backfield.
Oh, he will not be on my team.
Yeah, he kills me too many times. It hurts.
It just kills you.
But I mean, what's different about me also? I mean, Hill is also one that I look at and I'm hesitant. But usually for quarterbacks, I've been lucky enough to wait. I'm usually one of the last guys to get a quarterback. I always wait, and I always had gems. I had Matt Ryan a couple years ago. I had a couple guys that I get maybe 10th, 11th quarterback, but they're still up there with the 4 or 5 quarterbacks. So I've waited a long time to get these quarterbacks. Now, I had to change my mindset in your league. So I'm not going to wait and get the 10th quarterback off the board in a 2-quarterback league. That's going to kill me. So, I mean, I have to change my mindset a little bit. Not change my mindset on Hill. That one's definitely, I'm with you. Get rid of him. But I have to change my mindset some other things. Maybe look at a Cowboy or Patriot. But in your league, I feel like Patriots would be gone already. I feel like they're going to go way early before my liking.
Yeah, history's shown that is true, no matter how many people try to say, oh, this is the best fit for my team. That's certainly the case.
See, I'm the opposite. I say, I don't really want to pick Giants. Well, you guys are like, I want to pick Pats. So it is different.
Yeah, it's something about the Patriots is unique. Especially around these parts, people just love their players.
Well, just Brady throws so much, and all those guys get such good stats.
Yeah, it's just a statistical anomaly.
But
what the Patriots do.
I know Brian said Eli, who you don't know when he's going to decline. Well, you can say the same thing about Brady. He's, 40?
Yeah.
I mean, the decline has to come. I know people in denial say, no, he's never going to decline.
You're right.
He's going to be until he's 50. But, he's going to start declining, and he's going to get a little fragile. And one hit, it could shake him up, and if he gets that one injury, he'll be done. Because at that age, if you get a little injury, it's going to take you longer to come back and everything. So, I mean, the decline has to start. I know it doesn't look like it because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. But when does that decline happen?
No idea. It's a mystery, just like it's a mystery how you're going to be in this league. It's like I can't even talk about the future. What do you think is going to happen in this league because you just never done something like this before?
Mm-hmm.
Instead, what I can ask you is, can you make a bold prediction on this season, on anything?
I mean, I don't know too much about this league so far. I've looked at the scoring and I've heard about last season's. I mean, my bold prediction is I think, me or Alex will get the 1 seed.
Wow. Get out of here. One of the newcomers getting a 1 seed. That is a bold prediction.
I mean, I think we're going to have different mindsets. I know Alex has a completely different mindset than I have. But I think one way it's going to work. I mean, for one of us. I feel like one of us is going to do really well, and the other one might do not as well.
I like it.
I mean, we do like the same type of players, but there's some players that I absolutely hate and he loves that I hate. So, I mean, I do think one of us will get 10 wins, and I think that'll be the 1 seed.
What record makes the 4 seed?
I mean, in my league, it's 8 teams make the playoffs, and it's usually 7-6 makes the playoffs for me, and I play one less regular season game than you.
Yep.
So I think if you go 8-6, you're in, guaranteed. 7-7, you're gonna be that bubble team, but I think 8-6 is what I'm shooting for at least.
Yep.
I think 8-6 is safe. You're in, and I think that's what's gonna make it.
Love the bold prediction. Want to see if it's gonna come true.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I guess we can get to the last part of the segment where we just go on what's going on in the sports world.
Okay.
Anything you in particular would want to talk about?
I mean, I'm open to talking anything. We could talk about the Yankees trade, which I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I think we could stick to baseball.
Okay.
I guess we could talk a little Red Sox Yankees since we do have fans of each.
Yeah.
We could talk about that for a little bit. Yeah, you guys outbidded us for Todd Frazier. I'm not sure what the Red Sox were going to propose, because I heard something that Robertson, they did not want him.
Which is stupid, I think.
You
got to fix that bullpen. Carson Smith, who knows what
they're third in bullpen ERA right now.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. So I could see why they wouldn't want to give up a prospect if they don't think they need it, because they kind of depleted the system. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they would have had to give. The Yankees had to give their number 3 prospect, who they drafted first overall last year, which I thought was going to be a good player. That's why I'm hesitant on this trade. Everything I read said it's a great trade for the Yankees because they have so much depth in the outfield in the minors. So that's
true.
The only reason why. I mean, they say Mateo, they might move to center, so that might be covered. And if you have Frazier and Judge, you're set, for a good 10 years at least. So, I mean, in that sense, maybe it's not that bad. I mean, I feel like he's a good prospect. But, I mean, I'm so glad Clippard's gone. I'm done with Clippard. He is, I mean, I think me and you can throw better than him. It's a straight fastball down the middle every time.
He had a couple good seasons. Maybe just ran a gas.
He started the year off good, and then he had a stretch where he couldn't get a guy out. It was bad, and now I think he's going to close for the White Sox. So I think he's going to be good in Chicago. He can't pitch in New York, I don't think. But
you guys got 3 solid players, I would say, though. So giving up that one prospect, I think might be worth it, especially trying to make a run this year, which is definitely a possibility.
I don't think they're making the run this year. They should not try to get Sonny Gray and give up a lot of prospects. I mean, if they get Sonny Gray for minor prospects, not the major ones, I'm okay with it. But
unlikely.
They made this trade because they like that relief pitcher. I don't know his last name. I haven't learned it yet. But they said he's the centerpiece of that deal. And they wanted Robertson, and Frazier was the kicking. So, I mean, you have a bullpen now. You got this new reliever. You got Robertson. You have Betances and Chapman. You also have Adam Warren and Chad Green, which are doing very well. I mean, that's a stacked bullpen. And they're saying maybe next year either you trade Robertson and get something for him, or you even trade Betances. That's what the rumors are saying right now. I know it's early. But that bullpen is looking a lot like last year's bullpen before they made the trades with Andrew Miller there. I mean, if you could just get into the 5th, 6th inning, you have stud pitchers coming in the bullpen. I think they did a poll or an article I read, 6 of the top 30 relievers in the baseball right now. So that is something good to see. But Frazier, I don't know about too much. He's been 200. He's got Sandoval numbers.
Yeah, he's got pop though. Hard to
Yeah, he's
find at
gone
the
after this year.
corners.
He's gone though after this year. I mean, him or Headley, I don't see much of a difference. Maybe defensively.
Oh, Frazier would be way better. I'll let you know already.
Yeah, I mean, Headley was a Gold Glover in San Diego.
Yeah, but Frazier's bat will definitely help you guys.
I hope so.
I
mean, I'm shooting. I've said it all year. I think the Red Sox are in the division. Hopefully, Yankee starters could do well and pick up a wild card spot. And hopefully, Severino, which I think is the ace of the Yankees, could pitch a solid game. And hopefully, they could make it a little interesting.
bring on the Sox-Yankees series.
I mean, that should be interesting. I mean,
That'd be a dream.
All the pressures on the Red Sox. I mean,
you guys are the Yankees. I wouldn't say
no.
There's pressure every year.
On the Yankees. Nobody thought the Yankees would be this good, let alone if they make the playoffs. This year, they're gearing up for next year. If they somehow make it and play the Red Sox this year, I mean, it's all pressure on the Red Sox. I mean, you could even say this is like the Super Bowl Patriots Giants. The Patriots should win it.
Oh, we don't need to bring that up.
But no, if the Yankees make the playoffs, I'll be happy. But I'm gearing up for next year.
Yeah, I do see where you're coming from. Thinking about it right now. A lot of guys coming up.
You got to get rid of Garner, I think. Get Frazier there every day.
Yeah, please. Can you get rid of Ellsbury first? Actually, no, keep him. I actually enjoy watching this.
Who's taking Ellsbury? Nobody's taking Ellsbury. What you got to do is, you got 4 years of him. You got a lot of years left. Oh, God.
You got 4?
I don't know. It's a lot. I think it's 3 or 4 more.
I remember being in the bottom of the URI library when Ellsbury signed with the Yankees, and I was actually celebrating when I saw the money amount.
Yeah, I was happy. I thought it was a good deal.
I loved it.
He's got 3 more years and an team option with a $5 million buyout. So he's got 3 more years. Oh God! So yeah, nobody's taking that for $21 million.
Have fun.
I mean, you look at that contract. Look at Sandoval's contract. Just cut the guy.
Yeah, we have like 50, 60 million in dead money right now. It's not good. Our boy Alan Craig.
This is not the NBA. You don't have a cap. Who cares? They have so much money. They just buy them out and.
Yeah, it's just frustrating.
Stop. Yeah.
We had no third baseman.
In the NBA, you would be struggling because you're going to have that cap hit like the Knicks and Melo. You can't cut him because you don't want $20 million in dead cap, but he's a nuisance to the team.
If only we had Travis Shaw still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would have been a good trade if Thornburg stayed healthy, but he's been a disaster.
Dombrowski just likes to pick injured relievers. That's only been good for 1 year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you think he's a good GM?
I like his aggressiveness.
But does it pay off? I mean...
Well, if they're first in the division now...
First in this division, where the Yankees are supposed to finish 500.
Doesn't matter, it's a division.
I know, but...
They made the playoffs last year. I mean, Cleveland was just on fire.
Yes.
I don't know if any team was going to beat them at that point.
Yeah.
They were up 3-1 against Chicago, too, so they were clearly the best team in the league at a point in the playoffs.
So when did Theo leave?
Like 2011, 2012 area.
But when you say most of these guys in the team, well, the young guys are Theo's guys. Like Betts, I think that's a Theo guy.
Yeah, it's a little mix.
I don't know. I feel like it's a heavy Theo, but Dombrowski, of course, brought in Price and Sale and Hanley, the big money guys.
Hey, I'll do that sales trade again.
Let's see. Moncada's coming up soon, if he's not up already.
Already up.
Did he play yet?
I think he had in a bat. I would have to check the box score what he did, but I think he has been up and played.
Yeah, but that's a trade. Sale is an ace. I don't blame that trade. I never liked the Price deal when they gave it out. So we're going to see how that goes. And that Sandoval one, I mean, Sandoval is not a great player until the playoffs. They're like, oh, we're going to get him for the playoffs. You can't look at it like that. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, he's got to make the right moves, which I think he's somewhat done. And I think they're a 90-win team, 92-win team.
It's gonna be an interesting race for the playoffs.
Oh, it always is.
It's gonna be tight. Throughout the league. It's gonna be just like our league.
Yeah.
It's gonna be competitive, good balance, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Nick,
Yeah.
I thank you for coming on today's podcast. Definitely interesting to get the perspective of both leagues.
Yeah.
Definitely a unique podcast. Once again, this is episode 5. You can follow this podcast on Twitter _The Horizontal. We are now on YouTube, still The Horizontal channel. You can subscribe to The Horizontal, and you can like any of the videos. You can see any episode that's been up. Next episode, I'm going to try and get Alex House on. We're going to talk. Hopefully get him on. Maybe we'll have to take a week hiatus. I'll try my best to see what we can do. But this has been Mike Juicy, The Horizontal. Thank you for listening.